Hey, everybody, welcome to a special Mother's Day edition of Daily Distinction. I really appreciate you being here. If you're watching on the replay, especially, I understand today might be a replay day. Absolutely. And that's very cool. So great to have you here. Thanks for joining me. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day to you. And happy Mother's Day to my mom. And my wife, Tammy, is one of the great moms that I know. So that's so cool. So thanks for being here today. Hey, Brian, I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Great chatting with you on social media, and I appreciate very much that you're here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about mom's rules, the things that mom says that you've heard. And Charles, I know you'll have a couple that you can contribute. One of my great friends in the world is a guy named Mark Mayfield. Mark was National FFA president the year before I was a National FFA officer, and so we've been buddies since we were 18, which is a year or two ago. And Mark wrote this terrific book, and it's called Mom's Rules. And Mark had this bit that he used to do in his speech all the time, and it was the rules that he had learned from his mom. And some of the things are funny. Don't leave the house without clean underwear on. You might be in an accident. And Mark and I have joked for decades that if my underwear, if I'm in an accident bad enough, they got to cut off my pants, my underwear aren't going to be clean anyway. I don't want to see the surgeon going, ooh, clean underwear. Let's. So there are certain things that your mom told you that you look back down, they're a little silly. She might have, if you cross your eyes, they'll stick that way. Some of the things that we heard our mom say that might not have been really well expressed. Zig Ziglar used to tell this great story about noticing his wife cutting the ends off of a ham before she put it in the oven to bake. And he was like, well, that's good ham. Why are you just cutting off and wasting those ends? And she says, well, that's how you're supposed to do it. And so he'd never seen it done that way. So he said, well, what? No, it's not. What do you mean that's the way you're supposed to do it? She said, well, it's the way you're supposed to do it. It's the way my mom always did it. And so they asked his wife's mom, his mother-in-law. And she said, well, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Well, how do you know you're supposed to do it that way? Well, that's the way my mom always did it. And thankfully, the grandmother was still alive. And so they asked the grandmother, well, why did you always cut the ends off the ham before you baked the ham? And she said, well, we were poor. The biggest pan I had was about that big. And so I had to cut off the ends of the ham to fit it in the only pan I had. And it just goes to show you that sometimes we follow rules without examining those rules. So that's really a question I've got for you today, is that there are things that moms tell us that's absolutely critical, absolutely vital for us to remember, and that is something we all need to take to heart. Conversely, are there things that we learned early on that maybe because now we're older and can make our own choices, or maybe because the world has changed, or times have changed, or technology has changed, whatever it might be that has changed in your life, are there some of those rules that maybe we need to re-examine and think about? Either way works out just absolutely fine. But the thing we have to do is to be conscious of it. Hey, by the way, thank you for those folks that are sharing this. I appreciate that very much. Please share on your Facebook page or Twitter or YouTube, wherever you happen to be watching this right now, so that those folks can jump in. I realized I forgot to get us on Instagram, so we'll do that. By the way, Jerry, yes, I do sound like I'm in an echo chamber. There is a reason for that, and it is that we have been moving the studio around here, as you can do. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, thank you for that, Jerry. I had the wrong microphone selected as we have been moving things around. Does that sound better? It should, I hope. So I kind of was talking into an echo chamber there. We've been moving things around here. Got a new desk here, as you can see, and stuff like that. So we haven't had the chance. I just got it from Amazon. Matter of fact, can you believe they deliver on Sunday? We just got a box, and it's sound deadening for the wall that I'm facing right now. So it's going to sound even better, hopefully, in the next couple of days, as soon as we get that get that installed and get that up. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that. So, because I haven't really hit the big part of what I was going to talk about today, and that is, oh, good. Hey, Heather, great to see you. So glad that you are here. I can't believe I did that. As we've been moving things around, we rebooted, and I didn't realize it would send the software back to the original version. So great to see you too, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. So, hey, Max. No, Max, that never happened at Franklin College Radio. I can't believe Max Armstrong is watching. Max is a friend and a hero of mine, the leading farm broadcaster, agricultural reporter in the world, is in the house. Max Armstrong. My gosh, Max, I'm trying to think of I think I was wearing a blue jacket, and you and I were much younger the first time we crossed paths. So I can't believe you're here. Great to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for being here. Oh, Heather, miss working with you guys as well. It's great seeing you. One of the things that really struck me today is something that I read many, many years ago. And it really made an impact on me. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I would like to read a few. And it isn't a mom writing to a daughter or a son, but it is the basic advice that we got from our moms early on that I think really can speak to some of the things that we might be facing in the world today. And it's Robert Fulghum was a minister and an author and speaker. And every year he said he would challenge himself to write kind of the rules of the road, kind of like core values. He did an exercise every year where he wrote himself what the theme was, and what the core values were and what he was going to be focusing on for the coming year. And so one year he wrote what he called his credo for the year. And in fact, it was so interesting and so inspiring, it turned into a best-selling book. And so what I want to do is, this isn't exactly things that mom would tell us, but I think it's really relevant on this Mother's Day to take us back to the basics to what's really, really important. And this is just a little brief bit of what he wrote that year in his credo that became one of the chapters in his book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. He wrote, all I really need to know about how to live and what to do, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not at the top of a graduate school mountain, but there in the sand pile at Sunday school. These are some of the things I learned. Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you found them. Boy, that sounds like mom, doesn't it? Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that aren't yours. Say you're sorry when you hurt somebody. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day some. Take a nap every afternoon. The older I get, the better that sounds, right? When you go out into the world, watch for traffic, hold hands, stick together. Wonder. Remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup. The roots go down and the plant goes up. Nobody really knows how or why, but we're all kind of like that. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even that little seed in the styrofoam cup, they all die. And so do we. Everything you need to know is in there somewhere. The golden rule and love and basic sanitation, ecology and politics and equality and sane living. Take any one of those items and extrapolate it into sophisticated adult terms and apply it to your family life or your work or your government or your world, and it still holds true and clear and firm. If we, the whole world, had cookies and milk about 3 o'clock every afternoon, then lay down with our blankies and take a nap, think of how much better we would be. Or if all governments had as a basic policy to always put things back where they found them, clean up their own mess. And it is still true, no matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, it's still best to hold hands and stick together. I've always loved that. Now, I don't know in today's pandemic world that we're going to hold hands, but I think that philosophically and together, we need to stick together. And if there's anything that moms taught us, regardless of whether your mom is still with us or not, regardless of whether or not you had a great relationship with your mom or not, the basic things that we learned in kindergarten really were extensions of the basic things that we learned from mom. And those things are just as important, maybe even more so, than they've ever been. It should be how we run our lives. It should be how we treat our customers. It should be everything that we build and do in everything that we do. So I just thought Mother's Day would be a nice time to remind ourselves that the basics that we've learned are still the basics that are going to be critically important as we leave this pandemic time, whenever that may be. And it doesn't hurt us to remind ourselves of that every once in a while. Hey, Pam, I will pass that along. Happy Mother's Day to Tammy. She would steal from Peter to pay Paul, and that would make Peter sore. You should do. Well done. Oh, my, that, Phil. That's so good. All right, everybody. I just wanted to, a little bit shorter version today of Daily Distinction, but just wanted to come on and just say Happy Mother's Day and just kind of remind us all of some of the mom's rules, as my buddy Mark Mayfield wrote, and the things that moms told us that we still need to be thinking about and applying every day. Have you gotten to that point? I'm a stepdad. I didn't have kids of our own, but I was stepdad and am stepdad. And it's fascinating to me, and Tammy and I have talked about this so much, how the older that you get, you become your mother. You know, something will come flying out of your mouth that you just thought your mother was so ridiculous when she said it, and all of a sudden you find yourself in that situation where you are saying the same thing. Been there? It also teaches us an important rule that what we get put in eventually comes out. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, that when you squeeze an orange, you get the orange juice. When you squeeze a lemon, you get the lemon juice. What we are, what's inside of us was implanted there. And so that's another reason it's important. Some of that's good. For some folks, it's not as good. But it does remind us that we need to take a look and remember that. So, hey, want to remind you that tonight we have a very special edition of the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. It's coming up tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, special Mother's Day edition of our show. And we're going to have a very special guest, my great pal Larry Winget, multiple-time New York Times bestselling author and frequently seen on Fox News Channel. Larry's going to be joining us as our special guest tonight on the Ken and Glenn Show with the guy named Scott. Also want to remind you, we got tons of free resources for you. All you got to do is go sign up at distinctionnation.com. There's a free 14-day audio program on how you can create more distinction in your life, how you can stand out and take what you already know and find ways to leverage that and focus that for a greater level of success. And it's absolutely free. There's nothing to buy. It's right there for you on distinctionnation.com. Hope you do that. And join our Facebook page. Search for Daily Distinction, one word, and you can sign up there as well. We'd love to have you there. We have dialogue there, more information there. So make certain that you watch that. Also, hey, big reminder, tomorrow, right here, this time, tomorrow, please share. Joe Bonsall of the Oak Ridge Boys is our guest on Daily Distinction. Joe is a longtime friend, and man, I cannot wait to, I haven't talked to Joe since all this got going. We were together right before the quarantine happened. And so got to check in with him. So Joe Bonsall of the Oak Ridge Boys right here tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, my great pal, Phil Jones, the author of the amazing book, Exactly What to Say. So we got a big week coming up, more guests too. So big week coming up. Thank you so much for being here and sharing a little bit of your Mother's Day today. Oh, Randall, on our farm, Mom was the safety officer. Every time we left the house, she said, "Be careful." You betcha. That is so true. Oh, hey, thanks to you, Ken. Appreciate you helping with that. And I'm still learning more. We're working on that. And thank you, Charles. I appreciate that very much. I'll pass that along to Tammy as well. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for taking time in your Mother's Day to watch today. Please join us tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern for the Ken and Glenn Show with some dude named Scott. And that'll be coming up for you tonight with our special guest, Larry Winget. Tomorrow with Joe Bonsall of the Oak Ridge Boys. Tuesday with Phil Jones. We got a big week in front of Daily Distinction, and I hope you have a fantastic week and happy Mother's Day. See you soon.